Okay, welcome in. Today, I just want to go through an application that will help with eating healthy, home cooked meals. I made this application because I am the cook in my household and I make approximately, let's see, there's 7 days a week and then 3 meals a day. So that's 21 plus 2 people. It's 42. I make about 42 meals a week, and that is a lot of meals, and that is a lot to keep track of. I also do a lot of the grocery shopping because I know what I need to get. And before, my process was pretty good. I had all of my recipes saved inside of a OneNote notebook. And then at the beginning of the week, I would go through my recipes and decide what I'm going to cook for the week. And then I'd go through the ingredients that are in those recipes and create a grocery list, and then I would be set. However, this process still took a solid hour or more to do, and I wanted to save time. I also wanted a way to easily be able to view my recipes when I am cooking because my OneNote recipes were not formatted the easiest way to see those. And so I wanted something like a cookbook. There's two different ways. One, you have your recipes in OneNote, and then two, I would then manually write down those recipes into a like a spiral notebook. And now, just like any old good grandmother who has her cookbook, I also had my cookbook with all of my recipes. However, that was also very time consuming to write down these recipes as well. And then I still, if I wanted to track my macros, need to calculate all of those macros. And that is not an easy task either. It requires a lot of measuring. It requires figuring out how many servings actually is my recipe. And then, calories are relatively easy to figure out, but then everything else still is difficult. And so I wanted an application that just housed everything. It housed my recipes, it housed my meal prepping, and it housed my daily macro tracker. And if I'm going to track macros, I want it to be simple because I just really don't like using MyFitnessPal. I find it slow. I find it difficult to navigate. I find it really annoying if you have more than like 5 meals on rotation. Like, MyFitnessPal works great if you're going to eat the same thing every single day, and that works great if you are going to do this for 4 to 6 months. But if this is your lifestyle, if your lifestyle is eating healthy and eating full, cooked, whole food cooked meals at home, and this is for years, not months, then that is where MyFitnessPal starts to get pretty annoying. And also just keeping track of everything starts to get pretty annoying. And I've got like 5 recipes in my head that I never need to look at what they are. Great. But you know what? After a couple of years, those 5 recipes are just not cutting it. I need more in my life. I need more variety. And so that's why I have here. Another great thing about this is people who create recipes can then share those recipes, and you can see that in the Explore Recipes button. Unfortunately, most of my users have kept their recipes private, but we can see here that we have a user that made a public lasagna recipe. And if I had more users, and it would be awesome if I had more users that were creating recipes, then you could see and share those recipes. I do want to add pictures as well, but for the time being, the main purpose hasn't been the pictures, and I don't necessarily have enough users to warrant that yet, but that's definitely something that I want to do. And if I want to add this recipe to my homepage, I can, and now I have a delicious lasagna. And so let's just go through what this application does and why I think it can solve all of your meal prepping and all of your healthy eating needs. All right, so every Monday, the first thing I do is I need to plan out what am I going to cook. I have my favorites saved here. So I eat a chicken crock pot for breakfast. Okay, and I need to think, what am I going to be eating throughout the week? So definitely gonna do some salmon. I always have chana masala on the side there. I usually make kimchi stew about once a week. Do we have anything that I haven't made in a while? So I'm just gonna go through all of my recipes. What can I do? What can I make? Always some baked broccoli, some baked cauliflower. I'm thinking this week some chicken tostada. And I also have this oatmeal. I'm gonna make some chickpea crunch as a snack. And finally, let's do some stew. Okay, excellent. All right, so I've got a number of recipes selected here. You can see them up here. Next up, I want to create my calendar. If you don't want to create a calendar, then you can just go ahead and generate your grocery list, and it will generate a grocery list of all of the ingredients that are within here, and then you can select the ones that you already have, and now you are ready to go to the grocery store. But anyway, let's create our calendar for the week. I'm gonna go ahead and clear my calendar, and I'm gonna start a new one. So for breakfast, I know, having the same thing for breakfast every single day, but that's what I do. I have the same thing for breakfast pretty much every single day. So I just come in here and I drop these into it. I like to keep my weekends a wild card weekend, so I don't really plan out my weekends, but if I did, I could drop those in as well. The other thing that I also have for breakfast is my oatmeal. So I've got these two guys in here, and I'm just planning out my week. And also, I can see on the side, what have I got so far? I've got 40 grams of protein all ready for breakfast. Excellent. Okay, so for lunch, this one, I don't know if I need a good meal prepping lunch actually. So let's come in here. What is something that can be great for meal prepping? That's usually going to be chicken, or we can just see what I got for lunch here. I have no categories that are lunch, no problem. I'm just gonna come in here. All right, I really like chicken stir fry. I've been doing that one a lot lately. It's delicious. All right, so let's go ahead and add that chicken stir fry up here, and you can see that it's just right here. We got a lot of chicken. I must have made my chia seed also chicken, even though it's not, so I'll need to fix that. That's not a bug, that is what I categorized it when I created the recipe. Okay, so I've got my chicken stir fry for lunch, although let's add a little bit of variety, right? Why don't I do a chicken tostada for lunch on these 2 days? And I'll just have my chicken stir fry still there on the Friday. Okay, and for dinner, I always have salmon on Thursdays, easy, and I have it with a side of baked broccoli. I'm gonna go ahead and also I want some chickpea crunch with my lunches. This is a really easy recipe. It's delicious. It's funny because I'm actually allergic to chickpeas if I buy the ones that you just get at the grocery store, but if I make them fresh myself, then I have no issues. So I don't know what's going on there, but I do know that that is something that I'm aware of. I usually have kimchi stew on Friday, nice and easy. Let's do some chana masala. I don't have much time to cook on these days, so we're just gonna do that for both of those days, and we'll do some baked cauliflower with it. I think that works well, and I will make my stew on Wednesday. All right, so now I've got my week planned out. I can go ahead and print this meal plan and just have that with me for the week. But what else do we need to do? I'm just curious on my calories. Okay, so this is like basically the planned stuff, but obviously we have unplanned. So I think that's pretty good. Already up to 100 grams of protein each day. Love it. That is what I want to see. Now I want to generate my grocery list. So right here is going to go through all of the recipes. It's going to gather the ingredients of those recipes, and then we will get a nice list of ingredients that I can then go through and select. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients. As you can see, there's quite a bit, and that is 68 items. I don't necessarily need all 68 items because I have a lot of these, but I don't have carrots, I don't have potatoes, I don't have yam. So let's just go through what do I actually have at the moment. I already have a green pepper, I already got an onion, I already got some green onion, I already got the broccoli, I do have eggs, I've got mushrooms, I've got tofu, I do need chicken, I got the salmon, I don't have Spam, but I don't think I'm gonna add Spam to it. I think Spam's delicious, but I know it's not very good for you, so. And I'm not gonna add cheese to my tostadas this time. All right, so we've got honey, I've got chia seeds, I've got oats, rice cakes. I would like to get some rice cakes if I can. We got chickpeas. I've got pureed tomato. I got beans. I got tomato sauce. I don't have bone broth. I got gochujang. I got soy sauce, mirin, lemon juice. And I also tried to group these by the types of ingredients. So like down here is a lot of the, oh wait, actually I do need kimchi, is a lot of the condiments and spices and things like that. So it's pretty easy for me to just come down here and check. But spices are the thing that I always forget. Like I'll be cooking, I'll be like, oh shoot, I am out of chili powder. Let me write that down after I finish cooking. And I will forget to write it down and I will be out of chili powder for like a month. This is a great way to be like, oh, I'm out of chili powder. Okay, perfect. Let me add that. And so, as you can see, now I'm down to 18 items because a lot of that is the spices. And I'm gonna go ahead and download that list. And now I've got my grocery list ready to go. So that's kind of the initial first features that I wanted for myself. But I also need to create recipes. So to create recipes, you come on in here. And what recipe do I want to make for today? I don't know if I have any recipes off of the top of my head. I did just make something the other day that I was like, I should add this to it. What was it? Tilapia. All right, we're gonna make tilapia. Hopefully that is spelled correctly. And this is a fish, and the number of servings is just 1, and I'll make that public. Okay, so ingredients is 1 fillet of tilapia. Yeah, and this is pan-seared, so we'll specify that pan-seared, just like the pan-seared salmon. I do about 1 teaspoon of butter. I've got probably more like half a teaspoon of salt, or I could put salt to taste. I'll put pepper to taste. And then I usually add chili powder. We'll do again half a teaspoon of chili powder and 1/2 a teaspoon of garlic powder. I think I should probably try to spell these correctly at the moment. Once I actually get some maybe spell checking in there that automatically fixes the spelling, then I might not have to do that. What else? 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne powder, and anything else I don't, oh, a little bit of lemon, teaspoon of lemon juice. Okay, so what are the instructions? 1, heat up the pan to medium low, add spices to fish fillet, and then cook on each side. Oh wait, no, I want to add butter to pan, and then we're gonna cook on each side for 3 minutes. Okay, this, I will admit, is the weakest point of my application because I probably should be doing this on a smaller model. Right now it's going to be submitted to OpenAI's API. It's going to take all of those ingredients and all of the instructions, and it's going to calculate out the macros as well as make sure that everything's nice and ordered. So I could have actually more like free-handed that. I could have just spoken into my phone. Anyway, so now we have all of these. So I've got my 1 tilapia. I do like to double check these because sometimes if I misspell, then it might actually give it a tablespoon. I've had that happen before and didn't really check, and that was not very good. Here it looks like everything came in correctly, and then I'm gonna go ahead and save that recipe. And since all of these units are correct, that's where it actually calculates out the macros. And now we have our pan-seared tilapia. As you can see, it comes in at just 164 calories, but 20, almost 5 grams of protein. It is an excellent source of protein, and I have this about once a week as well. Okay, so that's creating a recipe, and I did make it public so you can see it too if you go into Explore Recipes. I can't see it because I created it, and I'm only going to see recipes that others have created. Okay, the next feature that I like to use is the daily macro tracker. So for breakfast, we can see that I had 3 eggs. I also have that with rice. So if we go to my recipes, I've got rice saved down, the perfect cup of rice. And I'm going to go ahead and add that. for lunch. I have not had lunch yet, but what am I gonna probably have for lunch today? If we go into my recipes, honestly, it's probably gonna be a tuna melt. That's gonna be delicious. All right, cool. And so we can see that I'm already over my fat. I don't actually know if that should be my goal fat. I need to decide that. But very easy to track your macros, and you have a little calendar here that you can go back and forth. It automatically saves for you. You can see it saved right there. And you can also just do a quick add if I just have, you know, some chips or something. And if I just want to, this is the feature that MyFitnessPal does not have that I wish it did. Is sometimes I know I had an egg that is not the size of a normal egg. It's a tiny egg. And so I know that this thing was only 60 calories and was only 6 grams of protein. And I'm just gonna go ahead and add that. And in MyFitnessPal, you would have to create a new item that is a small egg in order to have that. Like, I just want to be able to customize in certain things, because sometimes I have a quick meal and I don't want to have to go into MyFitnessPal and create a whole new recipe or ingredient in order to capture that. I just want a quick log. So that's my quick log. Do I know the carbs and the fat and the sugars of an egg? I don't. So those aren't going to be calculated, but you know what? That is okay. So now we can see that I was able to add that egg. It went into my breakfast, which is interesting. So I may want to figure that out. Anyway, that is my daily tracker. I made this app and I'm really enjoying it. And I do think that it can really help you if you are trying to make more home cooked meals. And honestly, if you don't know what to cook, everything I have is pretty healthy. It's also all gluten-free because I can't have gluten. So if you're looking for some gluten-free meals, come on over to letemcook.io and you can find all of these meals in the Explore recipes, and you can add them to your own profile, and then you can start meal prepping quickly and effectively. And then also, while I'm cooking, I have my little iPad with me, or I can have my phone, whatever I got available, and bam, I've got my recipe right here. I can just click through. I learned this trick from Great British Bake Off, where I see when they're cooking, they have everything written down and they cross out what they did so they don't accidentally add their sugar twice, which of course happens sometimes. But this is also really nice because when I'm reading a cookbook, I like forget where I am, especially if I'm cooking multiple meals at a time, which is pretty normal if you're a meal prepper. So here you're able to just click on there and it crosses them out. And that has been actually, this is like where I use this app the most, is really just keeping track of my recipes and then using it to cook. So that is a tour of letemcook.io. I am developing a iOS app, although I'm trying to learn Swift while I do it, so it's been a slow slog. But if you would like to see that journey as I make the ISO app, then come on down every Saturday morning. Not every single Saturday morning, but most Saturday mornings I am live streaming that application development, and hopefully soon it will be available on your iPhone. But for now it is not. But you know what it is available is that you can, sorry, I can't see this button on my screen, so I gotta look here. It does look nice on a phone anyway, so you can navigate to it on your Chrome or Safari browser on your phone, and you can use it there. And I made sure that the daily tracker is really easy to use on a phone. So even though it doesn't have the app yet, you know what? It's still very usable. And that, my friends, is letemcook.io. I hope you come and check it out. I would love to get some more recipes in here from other people. I have some recipes that other people have added, but I've added all of them that they have made because I thought they looked delicious. And so I have no recipes to explore, and that makes me very sad. So I really hope that you will come on down to letemcook.io. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, put in the comments anything that you would want to see in this application to make it something that you would use, and I will see you in the next one.